Shalom. May peace and blessings be multiplied as we continue on in this Feast of Tabernacles on a fresh day, where we continue to refurnish our tabernacle, rebuild our temple, the temple that is within us. I am Priest Uriah, joined today by my reader, Priest Rosh, to my right, and to my left, Priest Rasheen. Since this series started on this past Feast of Tabernacles Shabbat, we've uncovered a lot of different things in regards to faith and how important it is to walk in faith so that we can continue to please the Most High Yahweh. And without it, there's nothing that we can do. We're almost like dead corpse without faith. First day we covered faith unveiled. We talked about Abraham and how he remained, after he received his faith, he remained faithful. And he accounted the Most High to righteousness for that. And then we moved forward. Well, actually, on the first day, we went to, and it's a good transition. On the first day, we went to the vineyard, and we picked and plucked about 800 pounds of grapes directly from the hands of the priests, the brothers, the sisters, all consecrated saints. These grapes will be used to be rendered back to the Most High so that the Most High can be well pleased. We did that on the first day at the Feast of Tabernacles. Then we moved forward to Faithful Thomas. Faithful Thomas, which was an excellent and beautiful class where we saw how Thomas was like, look, I need proof and evidence. Then we worked our way over to the faith of the judges, was it?
Kings and judges.
Faith of the kings and judges and faith of the nations, where we saw how Rahab, she didn't have the complete understanding as how some of us in this room and online study, but she saw some things and she was like, I want to be with them. And she hoped. When the two spies came, she had great hope. And she asked for a thing, that thing was granted, and then she had that faith. And afterward they said, look, I need you to do this thing, do not tell anybody. And she reciprocated that faith. And it's the same thing that we're going to talk about today. But first and foremost, as we always do, we have Messianic Faith, a very good book. I remember when I was in AP class, but at the start of AP class, I saw it on the stage, and I inquired about it. This was a while back. I'll just say that. It was a while back. And Priest Banyala said, hold back, you gotta wait. You get it, you'll get it. And when we finally did get it, I read the book, and the first day I got it. It was that interesting, that impactful on my life. I'm sure Priest Rosh and Priest Rashim can also be witnesses to the impactfulness of this book, Messianic Faith. This book right here was crafted by way of the Holy Spirit through Priest Banyala and the royal priesthood. It's an excellent book. It shows that blind faith is of the devil. 100%, nothing else. That's what blind faith is. If you have blind faith, you are of the devil. Now, you may not understand. Well, get some understanding today. So that's what we're going to do today. On top of that, we have the calendrical calendar. Well, this is just the calendar where it shows the new months, the high holy days, the high days, which are the memorial days, like Nicanor or the destruction of the temple. This calendar is one of the most important things in the covenant. Without this calendar, you cannot know when to come to the feast. There should be no reason, especially those in the house of wisdom, while we calling and texting our brothers and sisters, hey, when does the feast start? You should be ashamed of yourself. That's what, because you don't have this calendar. You need this calendar to keep up with the times of the Most High Yahweh's calendar. And then also, we have the calendrical study guide. This right here got some weight to it. I wasn't able to read this overnight, but this is almost like a continual study guide. Every time I open this, I'm always learning something essential. And I remember when the first study guide came out. I still got that copy, and I still look at that from time to time. This calendrical study guide is amazing. On top of that, as you guys probably already know, we have the bread, the flour, the wine. We have the oil. We have all the essentials needed to continue the oblations in due season. So you can go to Shekinah.com and you can purchase your tithes there. You can purchase it for the school. You can purchase it for yourself. But one thing we don't want to do is purchase it out in the world, because you don't know what's going on with that. We have the AP class as well. Just touch on it briefly. We do have the AP class, Shekinah.com/priesthood application. What else do we have? I think, is that it as far as the announcements? Also, I almost forgot. So with the book Messianic Faith, this book will be on Shekinah.com this weekend before the Feast of Tabernacles concludes, most high willing. So if you are interested in purchasing the Messianic Faith, you may want to do it quickly, because this book may crash the website, most high forbid, but this book is highly needed. And if you miss it, well, you got to wait for Messianic Faith 2.0. A limited amount. So make sure you go get it. It's a reasonable price. This is for the advancement of the covenant, Messianic Faith. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get this class started. Priest Rasheen, if you can hold me Hebrews 11:6, and Priest Rosh, if you can hold me Genesis 7, verse 1. We're going to start, and this class is titled Daughters of Zion, the faith of the daughters of Zion. Like we already talked about, we did faith unveiled, faith of the judges and kings, faith of the nations. And we did faithful Thomas. And what the world calls doubtful Thomas. That should raise a red flag in your head. Are you saying I can't question? I can ask a question? He said, no, just believe. Anyway, we're going to stay on track. Let's get it. Hebrews 11, verse 6.
But without faith.
Look at that. The first three words, but without faith. What about it?
It is impossible to please him.
Look at that. Without faith, it's impossible. Meaning there is no way. So when you're on the streets or you in your halls of learning, wherever you may be, somebody say, I got a lot of faith. You say, well, what does it faith? Just believe and just love. You know that they cannot please the Most High. And if they can't please the Most High, well, we know where they come from. Anyway, read that from the top.
Hebrews 11 and verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Abba Yahweh must believe that he is.
He that comes to the Most High Abba Yahweh must have tangible proof, must have the evidence of the Most High. By way of hope first, hope materializes into faith. But he that comes to Abba Yahweh must have that faith, must have the proof and evidence that he is. Let's read on.
And that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him.
And when you receive that faith, you remain faithful. It says that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, meaning from hope against hope, faith to faith. It says the just shall live by faith to faith. One proof and evidence of the Most High Yahweh to another proof and evidence of the Most High Yahweh. This is what faith is. When Moses and the children of Israel crossed the Red Sea and entered into the wilderness, they needed more faith. And by way of their obedience, they received that faith. That rock was split in two, and it was plush water just gushing out. And they was just thankful. Now, some of them didn't remain. Some of them had faith, but there was a thing in which they didn't do after they got that faith. When we were in the wilderness and we were petitioning the Most High, and the Most High, he gave us our faith, we were supposed to do a thing. Did we do it? Not all of us did do it. What is that after you receive faith? What are you supposed to do after that? After you receive that faith from the Most High? Anybody know? Audience or in the chat? If you know in the chat, drop it. After you receive the faith, what are you supposed to do? Which is called what? Reciprocity or remain faithful. So we see Rahab. She was written in the book of Hebrews 11. She remained faithful. Sarah, Abraham, Enoch, David, all these brothers and sisters, royal lineage, remained faithful to the Most High Yahweh after they hoped for a thing, and that hope materialized into faith. All right, let's drop that, or should I say hold that, and jump up to the first verse.
Now faith is the substance.
Look at that. Read that slowly. Stop at substance.
Now faith is the substance.
Now faith is the substance. We're gonna do it like this for a reason. We'll bring it full circle. Now faith is the substance, the tangibility, something you can touch, something you can feel, something you can hear, see, whichever one. With Samuel, he heard. He said, Samuel. Samuel was like, hey, Eli, what? Eli was like, it wasn't me. Samuel, Eli, you called. It wasn't me. Samuel. Then Eli said, look, if that happens again, that's the Most High I'll be Yahweh. That's substance. That's tangibility. But we'll get another example of substance. Real quick, Genesis 7, verse 1.
And the heavenly Father said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark.
So Noah was like, but they're destroying the earth. We need help. He was pleading to the Most High, desiring that something be done with all the destruction that was going on the face of the earth. So the Most High gave him something. He said, hey, look, you build an ark. You build this big ark with all the animals, and you prepare. Read on.
For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
So when you have faith, you indeed are, should I say, when you remain faithful as Noah was, you indeed are righteous in deeds, in action, in all your goings. Let's read on.
Genesis chapter 7, verse 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth.
All right, we can go back to Hebrews 11 and 1, Priest Rashim, and then Priest Rash. Hold Romans 8:24. So as we see here in Genesis, so-called Genesis, there was substance. Those animals, the fowl, the birds, all those different things. That's substance. That's tangibility. Now, faith is the substance. In this case, small exercise. That's substance, the tangible things that were either seen, heard, or even touched were those animals mentioned in Genesis, so-called Genesis 7 and 1. All right, let's go back over to Hebrews 11 and 1, and we're going to go ahead and break this down.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for.
Of things hoped for. You got that, Romans 8? Okay. So we have, now faith is the substance, tangibility of things hoped for, desired for. You say, Abba, I would like to know how I can, just a basic example, how I can please you better. And then what pops up? Exodus 34. You're like, whoa, I never saw that before. I read Exodus 34 so many times. That's tangibility. That's substance. It was a desire was, I'm trying to please you more. I'm trying to get better at these high holy days. And then he puts it in your face. And you see Exodus 34:28. And these are the 10 commandments. And then after that, the Most High says, go do them. No questions asked, go do them. I know you marveling, it is so amazing, and you're blown away. After you get blown away and marvel for a few seconds, go do it. 2 weeks later, it's the Feast of Tabernacles. We here. 2.5 months later, give or take, it's the Feast of Weeks on the winter side. We here. So that's the desire. And then you have the substance. So once you have that hope and you receive the substance, then you're working your way closer to faith. All right, let's keep, hold on, before we keep going. Romans 8:24. Let's get an example of hope.
Romans 8:24. We are saved by hope.
We are saved by this hope.
But hope that is seen is not hope.
So if we already seen it, it's not hope. We already have the proof and evidence. We've surpassed that step in faith.
For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for?
Why does he hope if he's already done seen it? If he already has that desire and it's come to pass, why is he hoping for it? Read on.
But if we hope for that we see not.
Hold on, pause right there. For if we have a desire for the substance that we don't see yet, what do?
Then do we with patience wait for it.
Then with patience, long suffering, wait for it. And Most High willing, that faith comes to pass. All right, let's get back to Hebrews 11:1 and pick it up right after. It's cool. Start from the top. Hebrews 11:1.
Now faith is a substance of things hoped for.
So we covered that. Substance of things hoped for. All right, let's go ahead.
The evidence of things not seen.
The evidence. Think about what the Colossians 1:15. Think about the evidence, basic example, in court. So you need evidence. You need proof that this person, man, woman, is guilty or not. You have to have that evidence. The evidence of things not seen. So before we break down this portion, let's get a more clear understanding that'll help us. Colossians 1:15.
Who is the image of the invisible Abba?
Anybody know who this is talking about? The invisible image of Abba Yahweh. Alrighty. All right, let's keep reading.
The firstborn of every creature.
Look at those context clues. But let's see what we got here.
For by him were all things created.
Look at that. For by him were all things created. You go outside. How did trees get here? Did a man plant a tree and then he was the creator of the tree? And I said, oh, I created this tree. I'm the creator of all trees. And then they start bowing down, worshiping him? No, it's not the case. The Most High brought from nothing to something. Beautiful artwork. Truly beautiful. I know our agriculture isn't as beautiful as it probably was when we were in Israel and when we were in the Garden of Eden. Nonetheless, the Most High Abba Yahweh rendered to the Messiah nothing to something, and then it was. That's in 2 Ezra 6. If you can grab that for me, read that from the top.
Colossians 1:16.
I'll start at the 15th verse.
Verse 15. Who is the image of the invisible Abba, the firstborn of every creature? For by him were all things created.
By him were all things created. So when the Messiah did this thing, we saw what was amazing, from nothing to something. All right, let's get that in second Ezra 6. And pick it up at the first verse.
And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or even the winds blew, before it thundered and lightning, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the height of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or even the chimneys in Zion were hot.
Look at that. Look at all these different things that was here before we were. It said before this. The Messiah did all these things. He had nothing and turned it into something. Let's go back to Hebrews, or should I say Colossians?
Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. For by him were all things created.
Look at that. By him were all things created. But what do? We take, as the example is, we take a car, we get the metals, we get the paint that comes from the earth, and we make it. Only thing we're doing is we're fabricating what the Most High already put on the face of the earth. All right, we could drop that. Matter of fact, that's powerful. Keep reading.
From the top. For by him were all things created that are in heaven, and there are in the earth, visible and invisible.
Look at that, visible and invisible. And in Hebrews, we'll touch on that, but it says visible and invisible. What you can see and what you can't see. The Messiah made all these things by way of the Most High Yahweh. Let's go.
Whether they be thrones, or dominions, or principalities, or powers, all things were created by him and for him. For him,
for the glory of the Most High. All right, we could drop that Colossians and Priest Rashim, pick it back up at Hebrews 11:1. And Priest Rash, hold that Hebrews, hold that Genesis. All right, Priest. Genesis 16. Go ahead, Rash, Priest Rashim.
Now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
All right, so now we have the complete sentence of faith. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for. We covered that. Hope, desire, substance, tangibility, something that you can see, touch, feel, hear, whichever one, which is the evidence, from the evidence of things not seen, meaning from the Most High Yahweh, that you can't physically see with your own eyes. This is what faith is. Anything outside of that is just blind and you just gotta leap out on, and you just got all those things it won't help you. You can call it trash, whatever you want to do it. I'm gonna say it for how it needs to be said. It won't help you. You can't advance the covenant without faith. All right, let's read on in verse 2.
For by it the elders obtained a good report.
Look at that. By faith, the elders obtained a good report. Because the elders received, because the elders had hope, had that desire. They received that tangibility, that substance. And they received that faith, the evidence of things not seen, which is the Most High Yahweh. All right, keep reading on there.
Verse 3. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Abba Yahweh.
Through this physical, or should I say through this substance, through this tangibility, we understand that the worlds, the universe, were framed and fashioned by the word, Yahweh Shai, of the Most High Abba Yahweh. Let's read.
So that things which are seen were not
Look at that. So that things which are seen, go ahead,
were not made of things which do appear.
Which do appear. All right, let's keep reading on in Hebrews 11:6. We're going to pick it back up there.
But without faith, it is impossible to please him.
Yep, we covered that. Jump to verse 11.
Verse 11. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed.
All right, so as you guys see the title, Daughters of Zion, today we're going to cover the Daughters of Zion, and the first sister, the first matriarch, I should say, is Sarah. Let's read from the top. Verse 11.
Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised.
All right, so we're going to pick it up first in so-called Genesis 15:1. So as we see here, through faith, So this is the first matriarch written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, Sarah. The great matriarch. We had Eve, and then the next matriarch we see is Sarah. So let's get that in Genesis 15:1, and then we're going to jump a little here and there. So we're going to start with briefly talking about Abraham, but it's twofold, and we'll bring it full circle, most high willing. Genesis 15:1.
After these things, the word of the heavenly Father came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward.
All right, so his name at the time is called Abram. Father Abram. Let's read on. Verse 2.
And Abram said, Lord, Abba, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless?
Look, he's like, look, I don't have any children. Are you gonna is my steward Eleazar gonna advance this? What do you have for me? You're gonna give me a great reward. I have no children. Is it gonna be Eleazar? This is what Abram was saying. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Most High came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir.
So the Most High is like, it's not going to be Eleazar. Read on.
But he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
Shall be thine heir. Remember that. Shall be thine heir. It's not going to be him. It's going to come from your own loin, from your own household, from the direct instructions of me, nobody else. All right, let's read in, drop that. Let's get Jasher. Let's pick it up at Jasher 12:44. I said 16, but hold 16 too. But get Jasher 12:44 first. So we see here we're starting to get into the history of what was mentioned in Hebrews, the 11th chapter, when it first quoted, by faith, Sarah. So let's get that, Jasher 12:24. 44.
And at that time, Nahor and Abram took unto themselves wives, the daughters of their brother Haran. The wife of Nahor was Milcah, and the name of Abram's wife was Sarai.
So at the time, her name was Sarai. We see in Hebrews, it was Sarah. Let's read on.
Continuing in verse 44. And Sarai, wife of Abram, was barren.
So it was Sarai and Abram at the time. It wasn't Abraham and Sarah just yet. These were in the earlier stages of their union. They didn't have any children, as it says in Genesis, and as it says in Jasher. It says she had no offspring in those days. Let's jump to Jasher 16, verse 20. So Sarai and Abram at the time, they were married, they were barren. There was a long period of time in which they had no children, very long period of time. And the promise that was given to them was, you're going to have a child. It was given to both of them. They both were aware of this. Let's get that in Jasher 16, verse 20.
At that time, the Most High again appeared to Abram.
He appeared to him again, another time, after the first, or maybe the second. Let's read.
In Hebron. And he said to him, Do not fear. Thy reward is very great before me.
So this is right after the time where he met the Messiah, Malach Zadok. Let's go.
For I will not leave thee until I have multiplied thee.
Look at that. I'm going to multiply and I'm going to bless. And it's not going to be from Eleazar. Let's read.
And blessed thee and made thy seed like the stars in heaven, which cannot be measured nor numbered.
Verse 21.
And I will give unto you thy seed all these lands that thou seest with thine eyes. To them will I give them for an inheritance forever. Only be strong and do not fear. Walk before me, be perfect.
So the Most High is telling Abraham, or at the time, you're going to have a child. He's going to be fruitful. He's going to multiply. There's going to be inheritance forever. and it shall be thine heir. Let's read on.
Verse 22.
Jump to verse 23.
Verse 23. And Sarai, the daughter of Haran, Abram's wife, was still barren in those days. She did not bear to Abram either son nor daughter.
Look at that. She's still barren. Even after a long dispensation of time, after some of Abraham's, at the time, Abram's forefathers passed away. She was still barren. Let's read.
Verse 24. And when she saw that she bare no children, she took to her handmaid Hagar, whom Pharaoh had given her.
Let's pause right there. Let's jump over. We'll hold that. Let's jump over to Genesis chapter 16. And let me get there with you. And you can pick it up at the first verse.
Genesis 16:1. Now Sarah, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
All right, so now we see, once again, Sarah, same reference. It's been many, many years that have passed away. It's not going to be the servant, Eleazar. It's going to come from Abraham and Sarah. It says Sarah was barren. She had no children still. And she had a trial. There was a certain trial that she had to go through. Her desire, and the desire of Abraham, of course, was to have a child so that they can continue to advance the covenants, working our way to the covenant of David. Let's go back to Jasher real quick.
Jasher chapter 16 and continuing verse 24. And when she saw that she bare no children, she took to her handmaid Hagar.
So she was trying to force it, for lack of a better term, to bring forth this seed, bring forth this child. Let's read.
Whom Pharaoh had given her, and she gave her to Abram, her husband, for a wife. For Hagar learned all the ways of Sarai, as Sarai taught her.
Verse 26.
Verse 26. Sarai said to Abram, Behold, here is my handmaid Hagar. Go to her that she may bring forth upon my knees, that I may also obtain children through her.
So look at that. The Most High Yahweh in Genesis, it said, and thine shall be the heir from the loins of Abraham. Nobody else. Or should I say from the loins of Abraham and from the womb of Sarah, Sarai. Sarah was like, all right, look, this is taking too long. I'm having these trials. It seems like it's contradicting. I know the Most High said it, but I'm getting older and older and older. Sarah was hoping for this thing, but she did not yet have that substance, that tangibility, the infallible proof, the evidence of things not seen, that faith. Let's read.
Verse 27. And at the end of 10 years of Abram's dwelling in the land of Canaan, which is the 85th year of Abram's life, Sarai gave Hagar unto him.
All right, you could drop that. Priest Rash, pick it back up in Genesis 16 and verse 2.
And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now the Most High hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
Look at that. It's the same reference. They were, in so many words, trying to force a thing that the Most High didn't approve of, as far as the promise, as far as the desire, the hope, the heir, Isaac, did not yet come yet. It was a trial. She was struggling with it. She was like, all right, I'm going to just go to Hagar so we can get this over. But that's not the instruction and order that it was set to be in. That was her trial. That was her struggle. It almost seemed contradictory. Hey, Abba, you said we were going to have a child. It's been, well, give or take, 50 years already. What's going on? All right, let's drop that, priest. Let's pick it up at Genesis 17, and we'll start at the first verse. So, as we see here, once again, it was a struggle for him. There was a struggle. But let's get Genesis 17, chapter 1, and let's see what the Most High said. Remember, they said, look, I'm going to just go to my handmaid, and then we can get it covered. through all the trials and tribulations, and it seemed to be contradicting, she was not chastised. The Most High then said, look, you're going to the third division. You know, she was questioning. She didn't understand. She didn't have what? What did she have? Because if she already had the understanding, she wouldn't question. If she already had this specific thing, she wouldn't question. What was she missing from this point? He was missing that tangibility, that substance, that proof. That would lead her to what? That'll lead her to faith. It was for the audience, but all right, let's get that at the top. Follow chapter and verse.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9.
He was 99 years of age. But look at what happened. Let's read.
The Most High appeared to Abram.
The Most High came to Abraham, or Abram at the time,
and said unto him, I am the Almighty Abba. Walk before me, and be thou perfect.
And we know he was able to get a covenant. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And Abram fell on his face, and Abba talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
Look at that. There's a change. Before this specific time, it was Abram. Everybody knew him as Abram. Then at this moment, it says, you're going to be a father of many nations. He doesn't have the proof yet, that tangibility, that substance. But he said, you're going to be a father. I know you've been asking. I know you've been hoping, should I say. Hope against hope. Abram was barren long. With patience do we wait. That's what Priest Rosh said in Romans 8. He said, at this time it changed from Abram to father of many nations. Let's read on.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 5. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram.
There it is. Let's go.
But thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee.
Look at that. So you're going to be fruitful. Your children are going to be fruitful. They're going to multiply, meaning they're going to bring up these oblations and continually. Kings are going to come out of thee. We'll touch on that briefly. It's not too important, but we'll get there. Let's read on.
And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee.
Thy seed after thee. He doesn't have any children yet, though. What is he talking about? Thy seed after thee. And I'm sure Abraham was like, Abba, I'm alone. It's just me and Sarah. And I think at this time, Ishmael was on the scene, give or take. Anyway, I'm alone, Abba. I don't have a seed yet. He was questioning because he still was desiring for a thing. Let's read on.
From the top. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generation, for an everlasting covenant, to be a Abba unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee and thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger. And
so it keeps repeating, thy seed after thee, thy seed after thee. Let's jump down to the 14th verse, 15th verse.
And Abba said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife.
As for Sarai, thy wife, Hebrews 11 and what verse was that with Sarah? 12? Yep. Go ahead and get that, priest. Priest Rasheen.
With Sarah, verse 11?
Yep.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 11. Through faith. Also Sarah.
So now we're getting where we are at in Sarah. Verse 15, Priest Rash.
And Abba said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife.
Look at that. So this is Genesis 17, verse 15. As for Sarai, thy wife. So we already saw what happened with Abraham. It was changed from Abram to Abraham. A father to a father of many nations. Let's read on.
Thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name.
So Sarah shall now be her name. Let's read.
Verse 16. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her.
Look at that. The Most High Yahweh said, look, it's not going to be from Hagar, the bondwoman. It's going to be from Sarah. Sarai turned Sarah. That's who it's going to be from. You're going to be blessed, and you're going to be a what? Let's read.
Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations.
And she's going to be a mother of nations. Read on.
Kings of people shall be of her.
So a multitude shall come from her loin. And look at this. Verse 17.
Then Abraham fell upon his face, laughed.
And Abraham was like, whoa, I'm about to be 100 years old. I don't see that. I know this is my desire, Abba, but I don't see it. How is this going to happen? It said Abram, he wondered. He was marveling. I know the KJV says laughed, but in a more perfect translation is a lot more clear. Let's read on. He said in his mind, what did he say?
Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old?
Look at that. Abraham is questioning the Most High Yahweh. Thomas was questioning the Most High Yahweh. Because we didn't have, or they didn't have, that proof, that tangibility, that evidence of things not seen. They didn't have the faith yet. Let's read.
And Sarah, that is 90 years old, bare.
Abraham's like, look, I'm 100. Sarah's 10 years younger than me. You telling me this is going to happen? Oh, I need to see this. Let's read.
Verse 18. And Abraham said unto Abba, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee.
So this is not necessarily related to this point, but Ishmael got circumcised. Read to the next verse.
And Abba said, Sarah, thy wife, shall bear thee a son indeed.
Indeed, it will happen. Oh, definitely. This is what the Most High Yahweh said. Indeed, Sarah will bear thee a child. And what shall his name be?
And thou shalt call his name Isaac.
And look what else they're going to get from doing this deed. Let's read.
And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
Look at that. And I will establish with him an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. So, because it says with hope do we have patience, look at what happens when we have that patience. When we have that desire for a thing and we don't force our hand or try to force the Most High's hand, which is impossible, we get rewarded double time. So he's going to have a child. Sarah's going to have a child. They're going to have a child collectively. They're going to have an everlasting covenant. Let's read on. Let's not get that verse. Jump to the 21st verse.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee.
This is the third time. The third time in which they said this. Let's read.
Which Sarah shall bear unto thee at that time in the next year.
So the third time the Most High Yahweh said this. At the same time next year, Sarah's going to have a child. But where's the proof? I would be questioning too. I don't got no evidence. I don't know. You know the heathens of this world, they really go question. If they don't got no proof, they're not going to say nothing. As soon as they get that proof, see, I've been saying this for 130 years. But it's the same thing here. They didn't have the tangibility, that evidence, that substance just yet.
Can I say something? Like Chief Priest said, built in their psyche, in their mind, it's like, I'm 100 years old. I can't bear it. I can't believe what's being told to me. And so, as Priest is bringing out, that's natural.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Thomas saw Yahweh Shai be crucified. He's like, man, I ain't going to believe it until he's right here in front of me. His mind wouldn't let him believe Yahweh Shai was still alive. So in this instance, she's like, we haven't seen any, probably women past 40 have children.
Yeah.
So how am I having children? That's what their mind is telling them, which is a natural thing. It's a built-in, that's built into it.
And I believe was on purpose, so that we can have this back and forth, ebb and flow. We give faith to the Most High Yahweh. The Most High Yahweh gives faith to us. Back and forth, back and forth. Like with Elijah, that faith was back and forth. Elijah did something, the Most High did something. All right, let's go over to the next chapter. And to get some context, let's pick it up at the first verse. Genesis 18, verse 1.
And the heavenly Father appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day.
In the heat of the day, that noontime, those angels came and spoke with Abraham, and eventually we're going to speak with Sarah. But we're covering Abraham. It's kind of a little difficult not to mention Abraham when it's double fold. All right, let's read on and let's jump to the 5th verse.
And I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your heart. After that ye shall pass on. For therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, so do as thou hast said.
Read on.
And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah and said,
this is what Abraham said to Sarah. Read.
And said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the earth.
Jump to verse 9.
Verse 9. And they said unto him, where is Sarah thy wife?
Where is Sarah at? We need to talk to Sarah. This is what the angels were saying to Abraham's wife. Through faith, Sarah. All right, that's where we at. Now we're looking at Sarah. Continue on to verse 9.
And he said, behold, in the tent.
She's in her tent. That's where she is.
And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son.
There it is. The angel said it. Then this is the 4th time. Sarah thy wife indeed shall have a child. Let's read on.
And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him.
And this is why I said it's twofold. They were both hearing these things collectively. Let's read.
Verse 11. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and were stricken in age.
They were both old. They were past that age of childbearing a child.
And it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women.
This, like Priest Rasheen would say, they were older in age. Like, I'm 100 years old. I'm supposed to have a child? But the angels say, yes, you are. You're supposed to have a child. You're going to have one according to the same time next year. Let's read on.
Therefore Sarah laughed with herself.
So Sarah did the same thing Abraham did. She marveled. She wondered, like, how is this? How am I supposed to do this? This doesn't even seem possible. Is it possible? Read. In verse 11?
Verse 11. Now,
verse 12, I should say.
Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, Lord, being old also?
Shall I fulfill this deed? And my Lord, my master? Not my babe, not my boo, but my master. This is what Sarah said to the angels in regards to her husband, to her head. She said, my master. Just think about that. Do you have the strength and courage as a daughter of Zion to call your head, your husband, my master? And not calling him these weird Frankenstein's Romanesque names, being a romantic. Anyway, let's read on in verse 13.
Verse 13. And the heavenly Father said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of surety bear a child, which am old?
So Sarah's like, I don't know about this. And the angels called her out on it. Oh, you don't know? All right, don't worry. I'll give you something. Let's read.
Verse 14. Is anything too hard for the Most High?
Uh-oh, it's heating up. Is anything too hard for the Most High, Yahweh? It's heating up. We're not there yet, but it's heating up. Let's read.
At the time appointed, I will return unto thee.
I didn't lost count, but I think this is now the 5th time. At the time appointed, according to the time of thy life. What will Sarah have?
According to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son.
What did Sarah do?
Then Sarah denied.
Ooh, she was just like Thomas. I need to see that. I need to see the nails in the Messiah's hand. I need to see that proof, that tangibility. That substance. Read on.
Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not.
Sarah was like, I didn't question. I wasn't wondering. I wasn't unsure. I wasn't like, well, a little older, and I don't see how this. No, what the angels say.
And he said, Nay, but thou didst laugh.
You did question. You were wondering. You were marveling. You was like, look, my mother Eve, she had children quickly, but me, I'm struggling. You said that, Sarah. This is what the angels were saying to Sarah. All right, we could drop that because the rest is going into. But real quick, read verse 18 real quick.
Verse 18. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation.
Look at that. Once again, Abraham shall be a father of many nations. Likewise with Sarah, she shall be a mother of many nations. All right, let's go over to chapter 19 and pick it up. Chapter 20. Pick it up at the first verse.
And Abraham journeyed.
21st chapter, first verse.
Genesis chapter 21, verse 1. And the Most High visited Sarah, and he had said, and the Most High did unto Sarah as he had spoken, for Sarah conceived.
Hold on. Let's go back. You read that too quick. We got to go back. We need somebody in the audience, somebody online. What we see here, verse 1, read that again.
And the Most High visited Sarah.
The Most High came to Sarah. As he had said, read.
He had said, and the Most High did unto Sarah as he had spoken.
And the Most High did unto Sarah as he had spoken. At this point, what do we see? Anybody in the audience, online, what do we see? Say that again. What's the evidence? What was it though? What was that? Or should I say, what's that tangibility, that substance? Okay. Let's read on. Verse 2.
For Sarah conceived.
Look at that. Uh-oh. How old is she again? Did it say? Anybody remember? She was 90. 90.
90-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Giving birth.
Giving birth. And she was like, how am I going to have children? I'm old. That's what she said essentially. My mother Eve had children young. My mother Eve, she came in and she did what she needed to do quickly. But I'm 90 years of age. As we said earlier, there was a contradiction. It was said to Sarah and Abraham, or at the time Sarai and Abram, that they're going to have seed. And then Sarah tried to force the hand through Hagar. And the Most High Yahweh was like, no, it shall be from thine own loin, shall be thy heir. Should I say, shall be thine heir. Let's read verse 3.
And Abraham called the name of his son that was born.
Oh, hold on. A son? Abram? What do you mean? Read that again.
And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him.
Who was it born unto? Let's read.
Whom Sarah
Look
bare.
at that. Who Sarah bare. Now we have that substance, the evidence of things we cannot see. How is it possible? She's well past childbearing age. At the age of 90. At the age of 90, she bare a son, Isaac. Let's go back to Hebrews 11 and just touch on that. I know we haven't been there in a while. Hebrews 11, verse 11.
Through faith, also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed.
She had that hope and desire saying, the Most High Abba, I know I asked the Most High Abba every day in my oblation, allow me to have a child. Allow me to have a child. It's been 50 years, give or take. Still no child. Read on.
And was delivered of a child when she was past age.
Look at that. Priest Raj, let's go back. Now that we have that proof, let's go back to Genesis 18. Let me get there with you. Genesis 18. And you can pick it up at the 10th verse. And so now essentially what we're doing is we're going back showing what Hebrews 11 said. Hebrews 11:11 said. Go ahead and read that.
And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him.
Now look at verse 11. Go ahead.
Now Abraham and Sarah were old and were well stricken in age.
And old and well stricken in age. Priest Rasheen, read that again.
Hebrews 11 and verse 11. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength.
So we covered that. Go ahead.
To conceive seed.
And we'll cover it again just in case. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength. She was hoping and desiring for this thing. The angels came. They made cakes together. They gave up oblations together. And after the oblations, they said, look, Sarah, you're going to have a child. This same time next year, be ready. You're going to have a child. And Sarah was like, I don't know about that. He said, yes, indeed, you will. And Sarah was like, so be it. Or not at the time. But Sarah held fast to that hope with patience, as mentioned in Romans. And I think it's good to go back to that. Hold what you got and get Romans 8 and 24. And so, read it from the top.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 11. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed.
So through faith, she had the hope and desire, the substance, and then it wasn't there yet. Let's get that Romans 8. This is what she had.
Romans 8:24. For we are saved by hope.
Get that last piece of that 8 and 24. Just the last part.
For what a man seeth, why doth he yet hope for?
So she couldn't see this. She didn't have the tangibility, the substance, so she was still hoping. Paul is saying that, look, if you already got the hope, what you still hoping for? But this is what she was doing. Read on.
But if we hope for that we see not, then do we have patience? Wait for it.
Read that slowly.
But if we hope.
If we have that desire, like Sarah, she had that desire. Read.
If we hope for that we see not.
What we see not.
Then do we with patience.
With patience. This is what Sarah had. She held fast to that hope. She held fast to patience. And she was able to receive strength so that she can conceive. Read on, Priest Rasheen.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 11. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age.
Look at that. When she was past age, the Most High gave her a child. She remained walking in the system of faith. She had that hope and desire. I need a child. She was struggling. She saw contradiction. She had trials and tribulation. And then the Most High visited her and her husband, changed her name from Sarai to Sarah, his name from Abram to Abraham, a father and mother of many nations. He who will inherit the covenant, Isaac. And we know that Ishmael, he became a prince. And then what happened? That faith materialized. That substance, that tangibility, evidence of things that we cannot see. You can't just put a finger on how she was able to have a child at such old age. That's beyond science. That's beyond the ways and the intelligence of this world. Only the Most High Yahweh can do such a thing. Let's go back to Genesis. Where were we? Genesis, let me get there with you. Chapter 21. We covered that. It was just saying how she was well in age. We were covering Genesis 18. Matter of fact, you're right. Let's go back to that verse so we can make that connection with Hebrews 11 and 11. So Hebrews 11:11 once again says, through faith, she received strength and she bare a son named Isaac. In Genesis 18, it says how she was older. Let's read that one more time before we move on.
Where, verse 10?
11.
Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age.
And that's exactly what Priest Rasheen read. Well, not 100%, but it showed how in the old age, in Hebrews 11, she was able to receive and bear a child through faith. Through that desire, having child, turning into faith because she received that substance and that tangibility. All right, let's go back to Genesis 21 and pick it up where we left off, verse 3.
Genesis chapter 21, verse 3. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac.
Isaac. So Abraham, as we can see, remained faithful. He did exactly what the Most High said. They both had that desire. The desire was to have a child. The Most High said, indeed, you'll have a child, and his name shall be Isaac. So what did Sarah do? What did Abraham do? They remained faithful. They kept the name at Isaac. Or for this small exercise, I'm speaking on Abraham. But we're going to get to that faithfulness, that reciprocity in which Sarah gave back to the Most High, Yahweh. Let's read.
And Abraham circumcised his son, Isaac being 8 days old, as Abba had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old.
Look at that. He was 100 years of age when he had Isaac. That's almost unheard of. Well, it is unheard of, really.
Yeah. Right.
It is unheard of. But that's the evidence of things we can't see that we just can't put a finger on.
Only things that the Most High.
Only things that the Most High can do. That's right. Hey, let's go back real quick to Jasher in 16. I'm just going to touch on it real quick. And pick it up at verse 20. In Jasher 16 and verse 25, I should say. So we're just going to briefly go over the history of what happened when she was trying to force the Most High's hand, for lack of a better word.
Jasher chapter 16 and verse 25. For Hagar learned all the ways of Sarai, as Sarai taught her. She was not in any way deficient in following her good ways.
Look at that. So Sarai was probably thinking like, look, if I just teach her the ways of the Most High, I teach her 100%, this and that, then it'll be good if the seed comes through Hagar and Abraham. It'll be good. All right, let's jump to verse 28.
And Abram hearkened to the voice of his wife Sarai, and he took his handmaid Hagar, and Abram came to her, and she conceived.
All right, verse 30, real quick.
And when Sarai saw that Hagar had conceived by Abram, Sarai was jealous of her handmaid.
All right, we could drop that. Just wanted to go over that history. All right, let's go back over to Genesis and pick it up at the 21st verse, 21st chapter, 6th verse.
And Sarah said, Abba hath made me to laugh.
Abba's made me to wonder. I was questioning the Most High. And because I needed proof. I needed substance, tangibility. I needed evidence. Read.
So that all that hear will laugh with me.
So now look, everybody sees my faith. You see my faith. It's right here. I was 90 years of age, no children. Everybody knew about the promises of Abraham, but I didn't have no children. Now I have it.
This laugh is a laugh of joy. I can't believe this happened. This is amazing that this happened. Just laughing out of this complete shock.
Yeah, and more understanding will come by way of that more perfect translation, race sheath, in due season. Let's read in the 7th verse.
And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age.
Now Sarah's like, look, I'd have had the desire of having a child, and I waited 50 plus years, give or take. Who would have thought that somebody this old would have a child? It was me. I did, because I remained hopeful. I hoped with patience. It was with me. And then when I had my child, I had my faith. And I'm going to speak about it in so many words. All right, let's read on. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to add, her bearing a child at this age, her faith was strong because all doubt was waged.
All of it, 100%.
I mean, her faith, said, she was super high. Priest Ross was saying that laugh. I mean, she was just supercharged because, like you said, this is just unheard of. I don't even think a woman, bore a child at 100 in this day and time. With all the advancements in modern medicine, I don't think a woman is born a child.
You'd be lucky if you make it to 100 in today's time. Yet, let alone have a child. But in those times, this is the work of the Most High Yahweh, and none else. The Most High showed, all right, you remain hopeful. All right, I'll give you that faith. And after I give you that faith, I need reciprocity. I need to see if you're going to remain faithful to me. And we're going to see that here. Let's read on in the 8th verse.
And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking.
So now Hagar was like doing all the mocking and all of the things that she should not do. But anyway, let's read on.
Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son.
Separate us from them. This is what she was saying. Cast out the bondwoman. She should not be with us. Let's read on.
For the son of this bondwoman.
And real quick, so anybody know the reason? Well, I'm not going to put it out there yet. Let's just read on.
For the son of this bondwoman cannot be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight.
Now remember what we said to remember. Shall be thine heir. Shall be thine heir. Read that from the top.
And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And Abba said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. In all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Look at that. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So it says, Isaac shall be thine heir. But from the bondwoman, nay, not so. Read the 12th verse again.
And Abba said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. In all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
So this is that reciprocity. After Sarah received that faith, meaning I'm going to have a child, or should I say, meaning I'm looking to have a child. I'm looking to have a child. And then the Most High comes to them, visits them. Say, look, this same time next year, you're going to have a child indeed. Sarah's like, I don't know. And then a year later, what ends up happening? He has a child. And then it says, look, we got to separate. The Most High said, it shall be thine heir, Isaac, and not from Hagar, Ishmael. Cast out thy bondwoman. And it should not be both. Ishmael, he's going to be a father of many kings and princes, but Isaac shall receive the covenant. Let's read that one more time.
And Abba said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. In all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice.
Go ahead.
For in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Read on in the 13th verse.
And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning.
All right, you could drop right there. So what we're getting at, once again, she had that faith. Now the Most High said, Isaac shall be thine heir. No. So Sarah then cast off the bondwoman, cast off Hagar, cast off Ishmael to remain faithful to the Most High. The Most High gave Sarah something, a child. The Most High wanted something to return. The heir only shall be of Isaac and none else. And what did Sarah do? She remained faithful and did exactly what the Most High Yahweh said to do. Let's read on, and let me get there with you. You can drop that, Priest Rosh, and go to 1 Peter 3 and pick it up at the very first verse. And Priest Rosh, Priest Rashim, I should say, if you can grab me Genesis chapter 29. All right, Rosh, you got it.
1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husband, that if any obey not the word, they also may be without the word, be won by the conversations of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. Verse 3. Whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair, and of wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Abba great price.
Right. So it says this is to the sisters. Definitely. All of it's for the sisters, but definitely this too. You see what Sarah did. She obeyed. She remained faithful. She walked in the 7 pillars of wisdom. She walked in the system of faith. So don't be like showing out the outward apparel. And this is a whole class of itself, but we're just going to hit on a few points. But let it be of the inward man, the inward part, like it says in verse 4, that's what pleasing to the Most High. Verse 5.
For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in Abba, adorned themselves.
They adorned themselves in this hidden man of the heart, which is the inward man, which is that what the Most High looks at the most. You could be the most beautiful, whatever it may be. Definitely not sexy. You want to be sexy, you're going up. Our daughters of Zion need to be beautiful, virtuous, meek, and humble. This is not to take it there. If you say, I want to be sexy for my man, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then when a man comes and says, all I want to do is have sex with you, not to be too vulgar, you can't get upset. You have to be meek and humble and beautified through the 7 pillars of wisdom, through virtue, just like how Sarah was. But we'll see more. Let's read on. And pay close attention to this 6th verse.
Verse 6. Well, you want me to start at 5 or
6?
6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Even as Sarah obeyed her husband. Get that 1 Corinthians 11. So, just like Sarah she adorned herself in that apparel, that modest apparel of the inward man, you be the same way. Just like Sarah wasn't adorn herself with the plain of hair and gold and all the fashions and the makeup and all this beauty, don't be like that. But be as if how Sarah did it. And nothing else. Let's read on.
From the top. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
Calling him Master. Adawan. Adonai. Calling him Lord. Not Boo, not Bae. Not on these weird, like I said, different names. I'm not saying we can't. However, we should be honored to call your head Master. Adawan. Let's get that in 1 Corinthians 11.
Oh, which
verse 1?
1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 1. Be followers of me, even as I also am of the Messiah.
So now we're looking at the system of leadership, authority, the structure of the Most High Yahweh and all his saints. Let's go.
Verse 2. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I deliver them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Messiah.
So the head of every man is the Messiah. The Messiah, right above him, is the Most High Yahweh. So we have Yahweh, Messiah. Elohim, angels, man. Read on.
And the head of the woman is the man.
The head of the woman is the man. Please right. Read what you got. Chapter and verse.
1 Peter chapter 3, verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham.
Priest Rasheen, read it again.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Messiah, and the head of the woman is the man.
Even as Sarah obeyed that Abraham was her head. She didn't be like, I'm not. Brother, you going off. I'm your wife. That's all I am. Don't even know what it means. It says Sarah obeyed Abraham. What was it called? Read on.
Calling him Lord,
Calling him master, Adonai.
whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement.
Let's get that reference in Genesis 18 before we move on. Genesis 18, verse 12. And this is, Sarah was saying this to the Most High Yahweh, through the angels. Genesis 18, verse 12. Who got that? All right, Priest Rosh is going to get that Genesis 18 and 12. But as we see, it says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham. So when you're looking at yourself, you're looking at your relationship, your marriage, your covenant with your husband, you got to think, all right, if my desire is to have children, my desire is to be fruitful and multiply, like my matriarch, Sarah, what do I need to do? I ask the Most High, Abba Yahweh, for children, and when I receive it, I better be ready to be in subjection to my husband, obey my husband. Because anything outside of that, the Most High going to take it away from you. You're going to be in a dangerous place, the third division, because you didn't remain faithful. So we shouldn't be like, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Sarah didn't say that. And Sarah had a harder than a lot of the sisters, a lot of us. Not only the sisters, but the brothers too. But the point I'm making is specifically to the daughters of Zion, be as Sarah. Let's get that.
Genesis chapter 18, verse 12. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, our Lord being old also?
Get that 6th verse in 1 Peter 3.
Verse 6. 1 Peter 3 and 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord.
Look at that. Peter's quoting Sarah. Sarah is talking to the angels. She said, look, it's my Lord. It's my husband. My Lord. I don't know. You talking to the Most High? Yeah, that's you want me to do that, but my baby? No. She called him Adonai, Lord, King, Master, whichever one. All right, we can drop that. We're going to continue on with the matriarchs, the daughters of Zion, and we'll pick it up at Genesis 29, verse 31. Who got that? Who? Okay, Khan, go ahead. So now we're going to cover another daughter of Zion. Let's get the beauty.
Genesis chapter 29 and verse 31. And when the Most High Abba Yahweh saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren.
Look at that, same instant. Leah was able to have children. Rachel wasn't. She was barren. Verse, continue reading.
And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, surely the Most High Abba Yahweh had looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Most High Abba Yahweh that hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon.
What verse is that?
Verse 33.
Oh, jump to the first verse.
Genesis chapter 29 and verse 1.
30 verse 1.
And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die.
All right, so after it was stated that Rachel was barren, she's like, look, I don't have no children. My sister's having children. She then said to Jacob, give me children unless I perish, unless I die. And what did Jacob say? Verse 2.
And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel. And he said, am I Abba and Abba Yahweh? Who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?
So Jacob was like, look, you desiring to have children. How about you ask the Most High so he can give you what? So he can give you faith. Don't come asking me. I'm not in the Most High stead. I can't just make this thing happen. I cannot bring the things that are invisible, that we cannot see, into fruition. I'm just but a man. Let's read.
Verse 3. And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go into her.
Okay, so Rachel then had, look, maybe you should just have children with my handmaid. So then that's how some of the patriarchs came on the earth. You got Dan, and you had Naphtali. You have Dinah in there. You got Gad. All of our forefathers. Reuben, as we read earlier. All right, let's jump to verse 17.
And Abiyahawah hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the fifth son.
So now he's at 5 children, and Rachel doesn't have any yet. Let's read.
Verse 18. And Leah said, Abba hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again and bare Jacob the 6th son. And Leah said, Abba hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun.
So we are at 6 children. Rachel doesn't have any children yet. Zebulun, which is the constellation we're in now, the Mazzaroth we're in now, a good dowry. Let's read on.
Verse 21. And afterward she bare a daughter, called her name Dinah.
So we're at 7. Verse 22.
And Abba remembered Rachel, and Abba hearkened to her and opened her womb.
Oh, now she's finally able to conceive. She had the desire, the hope to have children. Now the Most High is giving her what? Most High is now giving Rachel that faith, that tangibility, that substance, the proof and evidence of the things we cannot see. Let's read.
Genesis chapter 30 and verse 23. And she conceived and bare a son, and said, Abba hath taken away my reproach.
And that son's name was Joseph. Let's read on in the 24th verse.
And she called his name Joseph, and said, the Most High Abiyahawah shall add to me another son.
So now she said, I'm going to get another child. She has more hope, more desire. She's bringing it to pass. Well, it happens in the future, I should say. She's asking to have more children. Now this is another piece of faith. Or should I say another desire that can potentially materialize to faith. And I'll just jump the gun. She ended up having Benjamin. That was her faith. But we're specifically talking about this first piece. So Rachel ended up having Joseph, and she received that faith. Abba, I need children. I need children. I need children. And then the Most High said, I'm going to remember you. You've been hoping. You've been desiring. You've been waiting patient for a long time. I'm going to open your womb. I'm going to remember you. And Joseph was born. And then what do we have here? We're going to go ahead and drop the 30th chapter so we can get straight to the point. And we'll pick it up at the 31st chapter. And in the between time, in so many words, Jacob was serving Laban for about 21 years. That's not the point, but just to give a backstory. And we pick it up at the 31st verse. 31st chapter, very first verse.
And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob hath taken away all that was our father's, and of that which it was our father's hath he gotten all this glory. And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before.
So there was a slight breach going on. Jacob received all 4 of possessions of Laban. He had Rachel, Zilpah, Leah, and Bilgah. Let's read on.
Verse 3. And the Most High Abiyahawah said unto Jacob, return unto the land of thy fathers, and to thy kindred, and I will be with thee.
Now the Most High said, you need to go back home. Jacob might have stayed longer if it wasn't for the Most High. Or even Rachel. He might have said, well, we'll get there. But just speaking on Jacob, he might have stayed for a little longer. Let's read.
Verse 4. And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance, that it is not toward me as before, but the Abba of my father hath been with me.
But the Most High has been with me. Read on.
And ye know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me, and changed my wages 10 times.
He's deceived me. He changed my way. He said, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get that. And after so long, it's been 21 years.
But the Most High suffered him not to hurt.
But the Most High said, look, you're going to be good in Laban's house. But it's been 21 years. This is what he's telling his wife, or wives, I should say.
Verse 8, if he said thus, the speckle shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckle. And if he said thus, the ring straight shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle ring straight. Thus Abiyahweh hath taken away the cattle of your father, given them to me. And it came to pass at that time, the cattle conceived, that I lifted up my eyes, and I saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which slept upon the cattle were ring straight, speckled, and grizzled. And the angel of Abiyahweh spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, here am I. And he said, lift up now thy eyes and see, all the rams which leaped upon the cattle are ring straight, speckled, and grizzled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee. I am the Most High of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise and get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred.
So now the Most High is telling Jacob, get up, get thee out, and go back to thy land. Read on.
Verse 14.
And look at, now we're going back to Rachel. Look at what Rachel says. Read on.
And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, is there yet any portion or inheritance for us?
So you did all this work? You don't receive anything? We don't have anything to get. Read.
Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Are we counted of him strangers?
Are we like strangers to our father? Read.
For he has sold us.
He has sold us, meaning we're not talking about no funny business. There was a dowry given. Jacob worked 7 years, then 14 years, and he received his wives. There's a dowry, and there's nothing else. It's a dowry. He said, look, you did all this work. You're not getting anything. He gave us to you. Now what? We're just going to leave empty-handed? Read on.
And hath quit devoured also our money.
And Sarah, should I say, Rachel's looking down and like, yeah, I don't know if I'm about to leave with you, Jacob. I really don't know. But she remembered, look, the Most High gave me something I desire for. I had the hope that the Most High was going to do a thing, and he gave me a child. Then he gave me another child, Benjamin. So now Rachel has 2 children, Benjamin and Joseph. So it almost appears as if she's not going to do this, but she has to reciprocate that faith. Let's read on.
Genesis chapter 31 and verse 16. For all the riches which Abiyahweh hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's, now then, whatsoever Abiyahweh hath said unto thee, do.
So now Rachel's like, look, we could have been millionaires. We could have been the best. We could have been multi-billionaires and modules. We could have had the whole earth. But if the Most High Abiyahweh said do it, you do it. This is her reciprocating that faith. Most High gave her something. Now the Most High said, get thee up and leave. Now Rachel was like, well, I got to remain faithful. And she said, it is spoken well. This is what the Most High said. You do it, Jacob. Now let's go back to that 1 Peter 3 and make the same connection that we just made with Sarah. And we can start, we're going to get straight to the point. Verse 6.
1 Peter 3 and 6.
And instead of saying Sarah, say Rachel.
1 Peter 3 and 6. Even as Rachel obeyed Abraham.
So even as Rachel obeyed Jacob. calling him. She didn't call him Lord directly, but she obeyed him. She respected him. She revered him. She was like, look, we're going to leave with nothing. But if the Most High said do it, then we're going to do it. Because when I was petitioning the Most High to open up my womb so I can have children, he did it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the Most High his faith. I'm going to give it back. I'm going to remain faithful. If that's what the Most High said, I'm going to obey. And whatsoever he says do, you do it. Calling him master. So that's that reciprocity in which Rachel gave back to the Most High Yahweh. And then as we see down the line in the 33rd chapter, let's get there real quick. Priest, who was that in Genesis?
That was me, priest.
All right, get Genesis chapter 33. And jump down to, let's see, 36, I believe. Genesis 36. And no, that was 33. Start at the first verse. Genesis 33, verse 1.
And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the two handmaids. And he put the handmaids and her children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost.
Yep. So Joseph is, as we could see, that was what caused her to have that faith when she had Joseph. But she said, and the Most High is going to give me another child. So then she has more hope, more desire that eventually was going to turn into faith. All right, let's read on.
Verse 3. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to him.
You could drop that. Just wanted to show that, Joseph was in there too. Grab Genesis 35:18.
And it came to pass as our soul was in departing.
Whose soul was that? Jump to the previous verse.
Verse 17. Genesis 35:17. And it came to pass when she was in hard labor that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass as her soul was in departing, where she died, that she called his name.
You have verse 16?
Genesis chapter 35 and verse 16. And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor.
Look at that. So her womb is still open. Remember what it said? It said, and the Most High shall give me another child. Her womb is still open. And it said, what did it say? And Rachel travailed, and she had a hard labor. The faith hasn't come yet. It was only the desire that she was going to have a child. But now it was trials and tribulations. Seemed like a contradiction. I don't know. Am I going to pass away? What's going to happen? Let's read in the 17th verse.
And it came to pass when she was in hard labor that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also.
Look at that. She's like, look, don't worry. You indeed are going to have this child. She didn't know yet. She didn't know. She just had the hope that was mentioned in Genesis 30 that she was going to have another child. Read.
Verse 18. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, where she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin.
She'd had another child. Now she has another portion of faith right before she passed away. Verse 19.
And Rachel died and was buried in the way of Ephrath, which is Bethlehem.
So this is in the same land of Judah. All right, so we're going to conclude in Hebrews 11, where we started at. And as a recap, Hebrews 11, verse 1.
Now faith is a substance of things hoped for.
So Rachel, Sarah, their hope, their desire was to have a child. And they bear long. They had patience. With patience, do we hope? Do we wait? They had patience. Read on.
The evidence of things not seen.
They were both barren. They couldn't have children. Sarah was older, but the Most High gave her tangibility, gave her substance, gave her Isaac that materialized into faith. All right, pick it up at the 11th verse.
Through faith also, Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed and was delivered of a child.
So once again, she had that hope to bear seed, to bear a child. She desired, and it was give or take 50 years. And after a period of time, Isaac came. Now she had that faith. She reciprocated that faith by separating the heir, the one of the promise, the covenant bearer, from the one who wasn't of the promise, who wasn't thine heir. Read on.
And was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful.
So the Most High showed, it was like I said, back and forth, back and forth. Sarah showed the Most High faith. The Most High showed Sarah faith. Sarah received child, and she reciprocated that by separating Isaac from Ishmael. The Most High said, look, you do this thing. And Sarah did it. Now they reciprocating back and forth, back and forth. And she judged the Most High faithful as well. So in these latter days, Hebrews 11, verse 6.
But without faith, it is impossible to please him.
So as daughters of Zion, if you aren't behaving and engaging in the same ways and tendencies of Sarah, being patient. You're looking to have a child. You bear long. You bear long. You desire. You hope. And when you have that child, the Most High say you obey and you be obedient to your husband all the days of your life, and you don't do it, you're in some trouble. But if you do it, you're going to be counted just as Sarah was counted, a matriarch in the halls of Hebrews 11, faith. With that being said, I hope everybody was able to learn something and how Sarah reciprocated that faith from the Most High. May peace and blessings be multiplied. Shalom.
Wow.
And we'll open up the floor for questions. Got any questions in the audience? All right. The young saints. Shalom. Blind faith is disbelief. Meaning, you got to leap out on faith. Essentially, what that means is you don't have any what? What's blind faith? I'm going to ask you the question. What do you not have if you have blind faith, quote unquote? I can't hear you. Yeah, so if you have blind faith, you have no substance. You don't have the tangibility. You don't have the evidence to prove that this indeed is of the Most High Yahweh. So blind faith is no substance, but faith is substance, tangibility, something you can touch, taste, see, feel, anything related to that.
If I can add on to that, blind faith is ultimately it's just a lie. Pretty much, blind faith wants you to go on to believe something that you can't see. You have no evidence, no proof of it. There's nothing that leads you to a conclusion to believe that this is a thing, and you just pretty much you're just blindly going into something that has no proof. So it's just believing without seeing. That's a blind faith.
Shalom.
Shalom.
If the ancestors didn't have, what was that?
If our ancestors didn't have faith in the Most High, then what would happen to them?
They wouldn't have been able to please the Most High, because without faith, it is what? Come on, I know you got it. Without faith is what? Help them out, Nacumbia. Die. Speak up. Absolutely. So without faith, it's impossible to please the Most High. So if our ancestors didn't have faith, it would have been impossible to please them. So what that means today, you got to get your faith. You got to get that substance, that tangibility. You got to get the proof and evidence that the Most High exists. The things not seen, or should I say the evidence of things not seen. You got to get your own faith. Everybody has to get their own faith. The daughters of Zion have to get their own faith. The nation, the kings, the judges, the priests. We all have to get our own faith so that we can please the Most High. Shalom. Shalom once again. Well, Sarah called Abraham Adawan, which is Lord in English. Well, let me ask first, what you got some context to it? Like what caused you to ask that question? Oh, just out of curiosity? Okay, I know sometimes just to say that and say I'm not, it's a reason behind it, you know, so I was just curious. That's all. But calling your husband his rightful title, right? We're a nation of kings and priests, porters and holy singers. If he's in a position of authority, which even the youngest of us, the youngest baby child is in a position of authority, right? Leviticus 19, keep my laws, statutes, and commandments. So if a 2-year-old male child sees you going off and he corrects you, he wouldn't be wrong for that. The point I'm getting at is, if your husband is in a position of authority, and as a king and prince of Israel, he is, I mean, it should be more than, you know, excuse my language, boo and bay and all of these weird names. I mean, you might like it. That's what you might like. But Sarah's the epitome. Well, before Sarah it was Eve. But Eve, Sarah, Rachel, these are matriarchs, true matriarchs. They called their husbands Lord, King, you know, whatever that you guys come up with. But I would say so. It might take some adjusting to get to, because you've been calling him a specific name so long or whatever it may be. But over a period of time, that would be, you know, more suitable as daughters of Zion.
If I may. Of course, now we're talking about here with understanding. You want to go towards that. Is your man a righteous man? Is your man keeping the commandments? Is your husband seeking to be a king priest? These are, now we're not in the world, you know, it's just some wicked dude and the woman is trying to call him Lord. No, we're in a righteous environment, and we're not doing this as if you're just some slave going talking to, you know, this is about you upholding your head. This is your head. This is what leads you into the kingdom of heaven, right? In righteousness, right? So if that's going to be your head, this is going to be the man that's going to help you, lead you into the kingdom of heaven. Absolutely. It should be a pleasure. Be a pleasure. Hallelujah.
All right. And just to add to that, it's not all, as we covered in 1 Peter 3. It's not about the outward, it's about the inward. You may say my love or whatever it may be, but your husband is well taken care of. He's in good shape. He's not, walking around with, umbrellas for pants and these busted shoes. But he looking good. You got him looking good and sharp. Y'all getting the oblations together. He done did a long 12 hours. I didn't seen it 14, 15 hour shift. And you got him ready to go to do these or what? To do the oblation. So, like we're saying here, it's not about just the physical aspect of it. It's all about the spiritual aspect, that inward man.
Exactly. When you are looking at your husband, when you're looking at your wife, you're not looking strictly at the flesh and bone. You're looking at the inner man, the immortal inside of this person, what this person's position is going to be potentially in the kingdom of heaven, how you see this man. And so it's a great reverence to uphold your husband as such, if it's deserving in a righteous manner, showing the respect.
And just not to contradict what Priest Rosh is saying, but Jezebel called her husband Lord. She wicked. She was going off. They both was going off together. So if the wicked could do it, what more the righteous? So
just to add to it, double down on what the brothers were saying, or the priest, Lakia. How does Abba Yahweh look at the man in this system of authority that he set up?
Yeah.
He's looking at the head as, you're the king of your household. You govern the things that I've given unto you. So if Abba Yahweh looks at you as a king, there's no shame and disrespect for the woman that he's given unto the man to look at him as a Lord and King as well. So I would add that.
I got one more. Now, they say that the Lord is the Lord of what? Lords. Lord of lords.
King of kings.
That's King of kings. So just let that sink in right there. He's the Lord of lords. Shalom.
Good question.
Awesome.
We got any more in the audience? Online? All righty. Your nose out. See what we got here.
And with anything, practice makes perfect. The flesh is going to, in the beginning, the flesh is going to start to, itch a little way when you begin. But as time goes by, you'll start to appreciate the fact that you can call your husband your Lord.
Shalom. Now we'll move to the questions online. We have Nicola U. Question is, Shalom, please explain the latter part of John chapter 20 and verse 29.
All right, let's get there. John 20, verse 29.
John chapter 20 and verse 29. And Yahweh saith unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed.
Because thou hast seen me, you now have the proof and evidence.
Blessed are they that have not seen and have yet believed.
So blessed are those who are still in the hoping stage to see the proof and evidence of the Most High Yahweh, that have yet not to be having that proof and evidence of the Most High. So bless those two. So Thomas saw with his physical eyes, but we're still in that process where we're regaining our strength. We got the hope. We're working our way up to that faith. So that's essentially it on that one. We got any more? AP Yezekiel?
We got Sister Judy. Shalom. Would the daughters of the nations follow what the daughters of Zion do?
It's to the Israelite first, then to the other nations. We all abide by the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. The Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments are here so that we can be in order. We got the statute, which is how we govern ourselves, the commandments, the days in which we worship, and the law, our sacrifice.
Can I add something, priest?
Go ahead.
So these things are given for our learning. So to the sister that asked that question, would you follow what Sarah's doing? What, the precept brought out about how, Sarah went through this system of faith. Would you follow that or not? That's we follow, we follow our leaders. So that, to answer that question, the nations, they're not above Israel. You cleave unto Israel. You follow Israel's lead. But that's all I want to add.
And if I can add to John chapter 20, verse 29, it says, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed. Because why? We have Matthew 16:17. It says, and Yahweh answered and said unto him, because blessed art thou, Simon, or Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven has revealed it unto thee. So this is more so going into why Yahweh said this in John.
Yeah, and Peter saw with those spiritual eyes.
Let me add to that question. Go ahead and read it again in St. John. We covered this in the class, Faithful Thomas, right? We thoroughly went through this. So if you want the thorough explanation of it, go watch the class, Faithful Thomas. Go ahead and read it again.
John chapter 20, verse 29. Yahweh said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me.
So the Messiah is saying to him, you have seen irrefutable, physical, tangible evidence. You have seen matter. You have saw energy. You have touched it with your 5 senses. All right, read on.
Thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed.
So this is not a besmirchment for Thomas. This is a prophecy informing Thomas. Let's get the prophecy in 1st Ezra. 2nd Ezra is the 1st chapter in the 37th verse. So we went through this and we pulled out a plethora of scriptures, but I'll get straight to the heart of it. 2nd Ezra is 137. This is not saying blessed are those who don't physically see but believe without evidence. That is a fallacy, false doctrine put forth by the Christians, and those who just skim the scriptures as well. Let's get the in-depth understanding of it. 2nd Ezra is 137.
I take to witness the
Actually,
grace.
back it up and start at 35.
Your houses will I give to the people that shall come, which not having heard of me, yet shall believe me, to whom I have showed no signs, yet they shall do that I have commanded them. They have seen no prophet, yet they shall call their sins to remembrance and acknowledge them.
So the Heavenly Father, if you read above, saying he's going to destroy Israel, he's going to dismantle, he's going to scatter Israel throughout all quarters of the earth. And then he says there will come this last final generation. They're not going to have a land. They're not going to have a king. They're not going to have any of the advantages that you had. Let's read.
Verse 37. I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes, yet in spirit they believe the thing that I say.
So he said, I take to witness the grace, which we know is the covenant that was graciously given unto us, of the people to come. So he's looking at Thomas and saying, you are blessed. But there are those who will come later at the end of the 6th millennium. They will be more blessed than you, because to see the tangibilities is one thing, but to see carnal blessing and spiritual blessings is a blessing and an advantage of itself. Read 37 again.
Verse 37, I take to witness the grace of the people to come, whose little ones rejoice in gladness. And though they have not seen me with bodily eyes.
So that they have not laid eyes upon me, their senses were not entertained. Like you, Thomas, they haven't seen me with bodily eyes. Like we have not seen the Messiah with physical eyes. Read.
Yet in spirit,
in spirit, in our chamber of imagery, entering into the temple of the Most High, the 7th covenant. Read that part again.
Yet in spirit, they believe the thing that I say.
And we know that that word believe in the Hebrew is aman, faith. They have faith in the things that I say, which means the reciprocation is already in the midst. Because we got the evidence in spirit, it causes us to cause a physical change here on earth. Go ahead and finish that.
Verse 38. And now, brother, behold what glory, and see the people that come from the east.
So he said, behold, look at the people that's going to come into that eastern part. Read on.
Unto whom I will give for leaders Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Hosea, Amos, and Micaiah, Joel, Abdias, and Jonas.
All of these men had passed away. How is he going to give these passed dead men to be our leaders? Because they will resurrect. These are the men that are in spiritual places, actually witnessing Abba Yahweh, seeing his throne, worshiping in the living waters of the Most High. The Heavenly Father is going to resurrect them and bring them back. So what the Messiah saying to Thomas, blessed be those that enter into the heavenly realm. Blessed be those that see me with spiritual eyes. They're more favored than you, Thomas. So don't think that this is the apex or the epitome of faith because you physically saw. Learn to enter into the spiritual realm and eat bread that is spiritual, drink wine that is spiritual. So this is, again, refuting the Christian dogma that faith is blind belief. Con, you got it, priest.
All right, we got any more questions out there?
None.
All right. Well, peace and thanksgiving offers be multiplied. Shalom.
Shalom.
Praise Hallelujah.